And the third three is 1, 2, 3 of us. And by the way, that was 3 threes, and you got threes coming out all over the place.
You get way too excited about that.
Perfect.
Consider hitting the subscribe button down below, as well as the bell notification right next to it. Thank you.
First up, we have our MMORPG experts to guide you and me. First, we have Sir Jaziel in the house.
Hello.
And we also have our resident YouTuber at Coffee and RPG, Solomon SK.
I'm not an expert. I just steal memes.
Stealer of memes, Solomon SK. And then there's me, Kennethan. Each week we try to bring you the top picks and MMO opinions from the world of MMOs. Okay. Now I didn't find anything what in MMO happened today, but I did find one interesting thing about a game that came out today. Well, there's a lot of games came out today, but back in 2003 or 4, I didn't write down. Sid Meier's Sim Golf. Never played it, even though I'm a Sid Meier fan, apparently, but I didn't play it, All right, there you go. That is our start. And now comes our opening quest song. All right, it is time for some quests. It is our daily quest. It's where all your quests begin, because you jump into the game, you have to do them first. And who better to guide you than our Trinity game masters? Guess what? Not much in the world of news last I saw that I could see, so I'm going to pass on to other people. But we did record the fact, I think it was that we knew that Life is Feudal is at its end, and it did officially end. It is now shut down, so it is over. Sorry. Then again, I never played it, so oh well. I'm done. So Jaziel, what do you got for us?
Yeah, it was kind of a quiet week, honestly. I would say I was sad to see that game go, but I honestly don't know a single person who played it, even tried it out. So all I saw were the occasional YouTube video that I would run across, but I'm sure that it had some kind of following, 2,000 or 3,000 people playing. Maybe that's being generous. I don't know. And you're all welcome to come to ESO or World of Warcraft or something else. Anyway, talk about games that have been in development for a long time and hopefully will not go that way. Pantheon Rise of the Fallen. This was kind of brought to my attention through Co-Carnage. Was able to do a this isn't in my notes, by the way, in case you're wondering. Was able to get with some of the developers and run the first starter dungeon, I think it was. And I wasn't able to stick it out through the entire stream, but from what I saw, I gotta say, the graphics look a little more dated than I remember them looking. But the gameplay did bring back memories of EverQuest, which is going to be quite obvious by the fact that a lot of the people working on it are from that era, including Kennethan's Dark Age of Camelot and Anarchy Online, all those real early, late 1990s, early 2000s MMOs. Pantheon Rise of the Fallen also made an announcement that they have secured Visionary Realms, by the way, that's the name of the company, has received a 7-figure investment. They didn't give specifics, they just said 7 figures, so it could just be an even million, could be 7 million, who knows. To continue production, they're saying that should get them through to launch, although they kind of alluded to that they might need more, which that's believable in this day and time. But I'm really pretty thrilled to see that it's still going ahead. It is intended to be that old school hardcore, you have to group to progress in the game kind of MMO that we are kind of missing right now. We don't really have games like that. Most of them are catering more towards, the casual, friendly, you can solo or group kind of MMOs, which I enjoy myself because sometimes you get on and you don't have any friends on, and you're up real late at night or you're getting up early in the morning and trying to sneak on. You don't have anyone to group up with. That would kind of not be fun. But as you know, they did lose. We all lost Brad McQuaid back in November 2019, who was heading up that project. Again, he's an alumni from the original EverQuest as well as some other games. And then they lost. I'm trying to remember the guy's name. But they lost a technology, the guy that was doing like the technology end of the game last November, I believe 2020. So, and they've just been having some hardships financially as well as just with the game itself. They've had some changes of staff and whatnot as well, as if you've been keeping up with it. So again, I've said this before, I always root for the underdog. That's just me. And I'm really hoping to see this succeed. Again, we do need something that brings people back together, playing together again. I don't know how well it's going to work in this day and age. Like I said, everybody seems to get on at different times, and it's really difficult sometimes to get everyone together, even on things like World of Warcraft and ESO. So we'll see, but they've got my backing, and I will try it out when it comes out. And Ko seemed to enjoy his time in there, so we'll see. Moving on, World of Warcraft Classic is testing out lowering the spell batching from 400 milliseconds down to 10 milliseconds on PTR right now. That is a really big deal. Now, for those of you who were like saying no changes, please don't change anything, you're going to be very upset. And I'm sorry, but not sorry, because for me, I think that there are some changes that make a lot of sense, and this is one of them. What spell batching is you actually, in actuality, you were not instant casting. Even your instant casts were not instant casting. It took 400 milliseconds. Every 400 milliseconds, it would take everything that you've done, movements, spell casting, and it would do it then. Now, the reason for that was just the technology that we had back then, the computers trying to make it fair for everyone, even people with high ping that had, especially back in that time period, there were still people on, oh, God forbid, dial-up, as well as satellite and all the other slower methods of getting online and gaming. So it kind of kept everybody on a more even playing field. And like I said, even with the back end, that technology just wasn't there to allow, without severe lag on the game side, anything faster than that, as far as what I was told. Now, I'm not a gaming engineer, so I could be a little off on what I'm saying, but this is what they're telling us. So now it's down to 10 milliseconds. I did hop on there and try it out on the PTR, and I gotta tell you, it's noticeable. It is noticeable. You're casting a lot faster, and it's really nice. So,
well, what is
like
retail at right now?
Retail,
this is Classic. So what's retail doing?
it's pretty much at 10 milliseconds, I believe.
Okay.
Or
so they're kind of bringing it up to what the current game is at. Yeah. Okay.
Right. Yeah. So it's a lot better now. Like I said, for those of you who've got used to the 400 milliseconds and you like that older play style and you want it to remain, it's not looking good for y'all, because there's a much louder crowd out there that are saying, yes, please do this. So we'll see where that goes. But like I said, I tried it out, and I got to tell you, it doesn't quite make me want to go back to Classic, but it's nice.
Okay.
Now, for those of you who are interested in a cheaper, considering the cost of the Chronicles book series that you can get, which are quite expensive. Trust me, I bought them all so far. And you've been playing the game and you're just like, what is going on with the lore? And you're really wanting to learn more about the history of Azeroth and its people and all the different races and worlds that we've traveled to and worlds in different times periods that we've been in with Warlords of Draenor and whatnot. There is a website that it's been around, but they've done some major upgrades to it to make it just better and easier to consume the information. I did notice that as of today, as of about an hour and a half ago, they still don't have the Shadowlands information up yet. So we'll be waiting for that. But everything else looks pretty good. I would say that this is worth checking out. It's called WoWLoreTLDR.com. All one word. There's no hyphens or crazy stuff in there. And it looks much better than it had a few weeks ago even, and it's got more information in there as well. It's very easy to consume the information. You can go to the time or the era that you want to go to. Say that you don't really care about what happened before World of Warcraft, going back to I almost said World of Warcraft 1, 2, and 3. And even before, they have information from before those, because those of you who know, World of Warcraft has a ton of lore that goes back. It's crazy. It's awesome. I love it. But this is a nice, easy way for you to get in there and read through it. You can kind of pick if you want it to be really detailed or if you just want to get the basics. So I just thought it was kind of neat. It's a nice organized way, and you all know I have OCD, so I love things being organized. Easy to digest, and you can go in there and just get your dose of World of Warcraft lore or Warcraft universe lore, really, in an easy, user-friendly way. But other than that, there just wasn't that much more going on. There were some little things being talked about Star Citizen and whatnot, but they weren't really like big deals. They were just kind of more of "don't worry, we're working on stuff" kind of statements, really. Which you might see the tear forming in my eye. Oh man, that game's just never going to come out. But anyway, I'll pass it on to Solomon. Then that's all I got for this week, guys.
Thank you. How about you, Solomon? What daily quest you got for us today?
So, if you're looking for a naval MMORPG that's not Sea of Thieves, there's two potentially that you could probably look into. The first one is called King of Seas, and that's going to be launching on
King of Thieves, huh?
King of Seas, yeah. Launches February 18th. It doesn't really play anything like Sea of Thieves, though. It's more of No, I'm sorry. Wait, that's not an MMO. I'm sorry. That's just an RPG.
Oh.
Sorry. No, the game I was okay. So there's only one. Then in any event, the game that I just covered yesterday, it's called Uncharted Waters Origins, not to be confused with Uncharted Waters Online. But that's going into beta testing only in South Korea right now, on the 28th, I believe, of January. And again, it doesn't play anything like Sea of Thieves. This plays more like sort of an RTS, I want to say, in a lot of ways. The combat for the characters and the combat for the ships is very similar to an isometric sort of playstyle. Like, I don't know, if Diablo was a ship game on the ocean or something like that. I can't really speak for it because I've only seen just gameplay footages through the trailers or anything like that. I haven't played it myself, obviously. So I don't know if it'll ever get a Western release. There's a few people commented on my YouTube videos about this game, whether or not it would actually even come out in the Western shores. They don't seem to be too hopeful about it, but one could only hope, apparently. Not really MMO news, but kinda, but sorta not really. Genshin Impact 1.3, a patch update is coming out in 2 weeks, I believe, and they are starting a Lantern Festival if you want to get in with some exclusive content. speaking of Genshin Impact, I think I might have actually covered this last week, but I'll cover it again just briefly. If you're looking for a game that's very similar to Genshin Impact, but it's actually more so of an MMO than a single-player game with online capabilities, Grand Saga will be coming out in South Korea in a few weeks, I believe, in February. Man, I can't believe I can't remember the date, even though I covered it like earlier this week. So I apologize for that. So just wanted to give a quick mention of that game if you are interested. It is a cross-platform game. It will be able to be playable on both the mobile and PC platforms. And lastly, let me check my notes here really quick. Give me like 10 seconds. Anything else? Oh, EVE Online opened in Japan. So EVE
Really?
Online
Okay.
is getting an influx of Japanese players, and they're celebrating that with the Eden celebrations. If that's something that you are interested in. And oh yeah, I didn't. Speaking of Sea of Thieves, I didn't know this, but they've actually switched over to the seasonal updates with battle passes.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
They started that about. I think they announced it last month, and they're going to start doing that, I believe, this month or next month or something like that. So yeah, Sea of Thieves is going through some changes themselves. Hopefully for the better. And yeah, that's about it, really. And really quick in non-MMORPG news, I thought I'd just put this in there anyways because this is such a huge franchise. But a new Resident Evil game called Resident Evil Village is coming out in May. To all you
Oh, wow.
horror fans out there, they're still going to keep the first-person shooter perspective as the previous one. It looks scary. It looks weird. It looks very Japanese, I guess. I don't know. So definitely be on the lookout for that for all you Resident Evil fans out there.
All right. That sounds pretty good. All right. Time for something new. I know. I'm just waiting for something. Time for some Trinity Pro opinions with the Trinity story quest. Okay. Sorry, I was just because I was thinking about everything going on here, right? You guys talk about how much my microphone picks up stuff. And I was thinking, someone's in the kitchen again. And it's like
you have to do it all over again.
It's like I know I can cut all this out and post my personal. So it's just not a big deal directly, but it's just, well, that's a big deal. All right. Also, I was thinking about earlier, I had someone follow my channel named Alan Intention. Okay. And I'm like, interesting name. Okay. And I'm wondering if it's Alan with a different name, Anyway,
it's a popular name.
Time for our main story quest. Okay, this is where we're going to give you some Trinity Bro opinions. Okay, MMO opinions. And today it's one of the things where it's like, it's not quite a too big to fail. I'm not going there. When is a game too big and too bloated? Okay, like when is a point in time when you just say it's got to go? I mean, obviously we saw World of Warcraft cut back from what was 120 down to 50. Oh, actually, back to 60. So it basically squished everything, and it's so much to do. I mean, they have starting entrance zones where you have like several of them, but then from there you can pick which expansion you want to go in to level up. But it's so much to do. I remember when Dark Age of Camelot started adding on, it's like they had the main world, but you had more, it's like more and more. And it's like, with all the levels and the open world and the quests, okay? Or that's not a bug, but a feature, because guess what? It allows for anybody to get in anytime they want to, whether they want to do groups or solo or explore or do everything. It's just, hey, it's great. It's part of what you want to do. I like the fact that it gives variety, okay? Now, obviously, if I want to be like one of those top raiders and I go from 0 to, if it's 120 or whatever, it's like, oh my gosh, there's a lot of time in there. But nowadays with leveling, especially in WoW, it's so easy. Not a big deal. To me, it gives a lot more content and variety. The only downside is if you really want to be that top guy, or gal, and you got so much content to go through, it can look daunting, and you want to turn it off. But what percent is that? I don't know. So I think it's kind of a good feature. It's not a bug, but a feature. But that only allows for me to have open world this type of stuff. So Jazeel, what do you think? Okay.
Well, again, you came up with a question that you can go at from so many different angles.
Yeah.
I think, World of Warcraft is a really good example of something that was just unwieldy. It became an unwieldy beast of a game for a new player to get into. And there's a lot of them that are like that at this point. Elder Scrolls Online has a lot of content going on for it that is just like, what do I... Yeah, sure, they've got the starter area. You've got the starter area, but then once you get out of there, it's like, I'm lost. Where am I supposed to go first? What am I supposed to do first? What's the most important for me to tackle? How do I get to the point where I can play with my friends? And I think that it definitely becomes a problem. If you want to track it down to specifics, like how many expansions does it take to get there, that just depends on how much content there is to do. Dungeons and raids and professions and all those other things that get added over time. I would say, kind of not really dodging the question, but just saying what I think was a great approach to that situation was exactly what Blizzard did with World of Warcraft this time around, that they said, okay, this is what we're going to do. You've got a starter area from 1 to 10. They crunched the levels down to 60 as max in Shadowlands, but they took that 1 to 10 experience and said, okay, we're going to hold your hand. If you choose to do it that way, you could choose to just go and do it the old way, but I wouldn't recommend that for new players. 1 to 10 through that new experience, that new starting area, and then they go, okay, now you get to pick which era that you want to go through, which expansion that you want to go 10 to 50 through. And there's still some adjustments that could be made there, because I found myself getting to 50 way before I completed that, and supposedly they wanted you to experience the whole expansion, and that wasn't happening with my main or any of my alts.
That was a big problem, because you couldn't. I went into Northrend to do Lich King stuff, and I hit 60 before I ever finished all that stuff, and I'm like,
right,
I didn't finish exploring all this yet, so. But I better go Shadowlands now, because that's the expansion.
Right. And that's an issue. That needs to be, in my opinion, that should be fixed. Now, I know that probably means slower leveling, which no one's really going to be a fan of, but you should be able to get through that content reasonably, but you should be able to finish it. You should be able to conquer whatever the big baddie is of that expansion and get the full story before you move on to Shadowlands. And that Shadowlands, of course, was level 50 through 60, and that was a pretty good experience. So I think that they're on the right track. They did the right thing. I would like to see some of the other ones that have a plethora of expansions under their belts right now do something similar, because it's so easy to get lost and not know where to go, what to do for new players. Now, for someone that's been playing MMOs for a long time, you'll probably pick it up and understand what's going on, especially since nowadays we've got YouTube. We can go watch videos. Yeah, they've got beginner's guides all over the place from 1,000 different people that you can watch and whatnot. If you're, you've got the time to do that, 'cause some of them are 3 to 5 hours long. But, as far as when is it time to make a change, I think if you've got to listen to your player base, because they'll let you know. They'll let you know when it's getting just crazy and there's just too much. And World of Warcraft, I keep bringing that up. That is my primary MMO right now. Although I go back and forth from ESO to WoW, but it was a big issue, and they knew it. They knew that they needed to do something, or they were not only going to start losing people, they were also not going to be getting new players. And we spoke about this before, that it was like asking people if they wanted a free root canal. When I would tell coworkers or church mates or friends or family, hey, I've been playing WoW for 15, 16 years now. Come play with me, you know? I'd send them the email with the little invite a friend thing, and they were just like, dude, there's two, I don't, there's 120
It's deer in the
levels.
headlights. Yeah, no, deer in the headlights type stuff. It's like,
Right.
well, I mean, yeah, that's the part that I struggle with the most with regards to WoW or any game like this. EverQuest is even older. You know, it's got a lot more stuff, and you're like, deer in the headlights. I don't even want to start EverQuest because like there's just so much there. I don't want to start it. That is a roadblock to me. But again, there are those who wouldn't mind it, and as long as it makes money, you know.
Yeah, and so I would say that you need to be self-aware as well as a developer, but definitely listen to the people. And when you've got in, and I had gone to the forums and said gave that sentiment that, you know, I try to get people to come play it. It is a great game, but there were two things that kept coming up in every conversation that I had with someone that I was trying to invite. And one, the other one I would say was the subscription fee. A lot of people get turned off by it, but I'm a fan of subscription fee. So and I won't go into that here because that's a totally another subject that we could talk about another day, whether to go buy to play or free to play or whatever. But
yeah,
with shops and whatnot, because there's different games that have successes in all three of those versions as well as massive failures. But and then the other thing was that there was just too much. It's an older game with a lot of expansions and a lot of levels to do, and it was just too much. And I'm really happy to see what Blizzard did there with that, and I think that's the answer. And they've maintained subscriptions since Shadowlands. They picked up a couple million people, supposedly. At least that's what the money is saying. For us that have stock in the company, it looks good. It looks like people are sticking with it so far. And so I still have a couple people that I would like to come play with us that are still hung up on the subscription thing, but they do like what they hear about this new leveling crunch, as well as the ability to pick where you want to go and what story you want to hear on your way to Shadowlands.
all right, cool.
Yeah.
All right, Solomon, what do you think? Okay, you know, is there a time when a game is too big and bloated, or it's a great feature? It's not a bug; it's a feature.
When you say bloated, do you mean like it has too much content?
Yeah, like too many levels, too much open world, too many quests. It's just like the deer in the headlight type thing. You know, that it can be a barrier to entry for some people. Like, it could be a plus. I said World of Warcraft now has this new thing going on. It's kind of like gives you a lot of content. If you're tired, if you finish up one area, if you're new to World of Warcraft, you finish up one area, there's a ton more to go check out.
So I'm gonna start off with the story, and I promise there's a point to it. I remember when I was back in college, when I was getting my film degree, there was another person that I got to know who was also a pretty avid gamer, such as myself, and the reason why he didn't really get into the Fallout series is because he couldn't stand the fact that there's items in the world that you could pick up but you shouldn't pick up, like coffee cups or burnt books, and you know, just random features out there, not features, sorry, items out there in the world that kind of
mean all that can be turned into something.
and fall. Well, okay, you have to understand, this is like Fallout 3 days. I don't know
Oh,
if you
okay,
could.
never mind.
Yeah.
Fallout 4 is I just looted. I thought never mind.
Trash items, in other words.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. And you have to understand, so this is like back in like 2010, I want to say, maybe 11-ish. So, but you get the idea. So typically in RPGs, when you have items, it actually had a purpose. And so you ended up hoarding everything that you could pick up because it's like a one-off item, or it's just something that, allows you to advance in the game, make progress with the storyline, etc., etc. It actually had, like, so when you actually found something and picked it up, it actually had a significant meaning. And he could have, and so this is a lot of us that kind of came from that sort of background, that sort of experience, where now that you have a game like Fallout 3 that came out, where there's items that just littered the entire area to kind of give it that immersion. Like, he couldn't stand the fact that, and it drove him nuts. And so, and the reason why I mentioned that story is because I think that's something that's missing in a lot of MMOs, because a lot of us tend to be completionists when we shouldn't, especially when you play games like Black Desert Online, where there's literally not enough hours in the day to do everything in Black Desert Online. You could do bartering, you could do various life skilling like cooking and gardening, or and just plethora of other things out there, fishing, and then there's PvP, and then there's node wars, and then there's grinding, and then there's and the amount of time and effort it even takes to get endgame gear, especially when you get to like pen level, it's just insane. Like, if you really try to do all that, you wouldn't be getting any sleep whatsoever. And so that's part of the allure, I think. It definitely catered towards a more hardcore demographic, and people like that, or not people like that. There's some people who really like that. Consider us,
Good point.
I guess, masochists. And the only other game that I know that's probably even more hardcore, where you can't do everything, it's just literally impossible to do everything, is EVE Online, just because of the learning curve itself. And so I think there's definitely a market for that. But so unless the game itself isn't marketed as a game where, it's on a hardcore level like that, yeah, sure, then you might run into problems. You might alienate your audience, your player base, and whatnot. I'm not exactly sure what WoW is trying to do. I haven't really played it for just years and things like that. I don't know if they're really trying to also go for that, hey, look at all this amazing things that you could do, don't try to do everything at all, because there's just so much content out there, which in my opinion isn't a bad thing. I would rather you have too much content than too little content. If you had to pick and choose, obviously there's going to be a balance that needs to be established, but where that balance is, I personally don't know, because my taste in MMOs just tend to fluctuate every so often. So so to answer the question, like, when is the game too bloated? Man, I think that's just way too subjective. I think it just really depends on the player base. I think that's what
That's fair.
Sir Jaziel alluded to earlier. Sorry, you were gonna say something, Ken?
That's a fair statement. No, I would mess with my microphone. I actually turned myself off
Oh.
again. No, that's a really good point. I mean, again, that's why this is opinions. I mean, there are arguments on both sides of all this. I've said one level is like, yeah, deer in the headlights. I'm not doing it. Okay. I'm never going to complete it. I'll never catch up. I'll never have world first. A lot of different things, right? Other side going, oh, wow, I can just immerse myself in this and just run around and try different things and go from here and there. There's no end content, which means I can just go to spend my time. Like everyone, when I'm streaming, I have this problem called too many games, not enough time. And even people who follow my stream now have been hearing me lamenting the fact that I've been playing WoW at least 2 days a week, and I'm behind. And is that a problem? Talking to my son and all, it's like, well, Dad, what is your goal? Okay, you like playing other games. Well, yeah, and you're not immersed. I mean, it's like you're having fun, right? Yeah. So it's like I like the argument goes to both sides. So I appreciate your guys' comments. You guys both bring up very good points.
Really quick though, there's a viewer in the YouTube channel named Pete. I mentioned him before, and I saw his comment in MMO Bytes video, and he was talking about how he's an altaholic, And so he's like completing like all these things in Final Fantasy 14.
Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure what he was talking about because again I haven't really played Final Fantasy 14 since the original one, pre-Reborn. So, but then like apparently like it took a lot of effort to complete everything on every single character on every single I guess build or something like that. And yeah, it's like I don't think that's bloat. I think he just did something that he really wanted to do and complete what he wanted to do. He probably had to sacrifice other, portions of the or aspects of the game, rather, in order to complete his goal or whatever you want to call it. And so, yeah, it kind of ties into what you said earlier, Ken, about just like what do you enjoy doing, and again, if you're a completionist like I used to be, I get very sad. I get very depressed because I remember being a completionist in some of the MMOs that like some of the first MMOs that I ever played, and then I think to myself, I wasted so much time. I can't have those hours back. I literally spent thousands of hours on like Guild Wars 1, and I'm like, dang, I could have like learn how to like trade stock or learn how to do real estate, but nope, I completed this task in a game that has no monetary value, has done nothing for me in my life other than just for bragging and rights in the game that I no longer play anymore. So I don't know, that's a different story though. So anyways,
No, that's a fair statement too. I mean, because that's like again, what is as a gamer. When I play a game I finished, I remember playing a game called Firewatch. I remember it was a good game, good story, loved it, graphics, everything, and it ended. And one is like, I finished the game. Oh my gosh! Because on my Steam list is filled with games I never finished. Now, MMOs are invariably never-ending games. Okay, the idea they want you to get back in there and do more. Oh, you finished leveling a druid? Why not try a elf? Not a hunter, okay? Oh, you done all the stuff in Alliance? Go play Horde, okay? They want you to do more, and that's why they keep dropping coin like this. It's like other folks. There are a lot of other games want to try out. I mean, like New World's coming up in May, and so I'm off going to do that. I'm not going to be doing WoW at that point. It's like one of the things like you got to figure out what you want to do. You're like, what's your priorities? What do you want to do? Where your life is at? Make sure God first. Okay, your spouse second, your kids third. Okay, gaming should definitely be down below that.
Should be. Keyword should be.
I know. I was guilty of doing the wrong things in the past, so I've repented and hopefully I'm doing the right things now.
Me
All
too.
right. That's right. Time for some escort quests, where we lead to the safety, XP, and the adventure of a lifetime. Then again, I'm repeating the very thing just popped into your ears with the whole transition. So why am I doing that? Waste of breath. Okay. Kind of going into that a little bit, of course, the whole idea of a game, right, is also the idea of playing with other people. MMO, massively multiplayer online, implies there are a lot of people out there. No, escort quests are the worst.
Some of them.
Not these, we hope. Okay. Anyways, so playing with other people, I mean, obviously you join in and you do these different games together in a group. Nowadays you have LFR, LFG, whatever it is. Okay, that does it. You don't have to even know the person. Just jump in, play it, off you go. But guilds, free companies, alliances, oh my, all these different ways you get together. Okay, question is should you? Okay, and then of course if you do say yes, you should. All right, well, how long should someone stay? Should you guild hop? Is there and when is there a time to quit a guild? I ask all these questions because I'm in a guild in World of Warcraft, obviously for the Shadowlands, and most of my colleagues have bailed ship because they went to other guilds to do raiding because our guild is not raiding. I'm the low B, so to speak, and I'm like, okay, well, I get that. So we have people who are like, I need to do more. I'm going to join my other guild. Okay, I ran a guild in World of Warcraft back in the day, and it was fun. It was great. It also was a pain in the butt. If you ever ran a ministry or a guild or anything like that, dealing with people, you're going to deal with drama popping up. I know I was a part of a guild one time. We were raiding on Horde side, and I was their chief healer, and they were not necessarily the nicest people at times with other people joining the group, whatnot. And it felt weird, but I did it because it's my daughter. So to me, I'm going thinking like, okay, well, yes, you should, and yes, you should guild hop if you find the right one that fits for you, and yes, you should leave when basically it's the time to go. But I just wanted to toss it out to you guys, Solomon. What do you think about this? Guilds, free companies, alliances, oh my. Join, stay, or is there time to quit?
Man, that's a good question.
Thank you.
Again, like, as long as we've been doing this show, my answer has always been it depends, and this is certainly because there's just so many nuances. I mean, I think loyalty, like for me, I value loyalty, but I'm not exactly sure if this is something that you could really implement in this type of topic, though, because I'm talking about personal relationships, which you can still develop in an MMO and other online games, but
we have, yeah.
If it gets to that, oh man, I'm kind of wrestling with this because
I mean, there are people who got married because of median game. People make real life friendships a median game. People hang out. I mean, gosh, Kia is a guild that's been around for a long time. They've like 15, 16, how many years now, right? They're the leader is in Portland area. But they've been doing this for like almost 2 decades now.
Dang.
It's like they turn it into that's not their main. They don't do it for a living because the other things, but they have a pretty good thing. They have multiple chapters in different games, whether it's in, I think, Rift, ESO. I think they might have a small one in WoW, but also Final Fantasy 14. They had other ones in the past. Architect of Camelot first started out, Warhammer, different stuff. But yeah, these are all good things you mentioned. Yeah.
I think there's an instance where I'm reminded of an instance where I won't mention the guild or the game I was playing, but the guild that, I mean, I guess I'm technically still in it, even though I haven't played this game in a while. I really loved being in this guild. Lots of cool people, very nice people. I wouldn't say, well, I could probably say I developed maybe 2 personal relationships with it. I mean, we're not really close by any means, but close enough where I have their phone numbers and we could text each other and stuff like that. But something happened within the guild where these particular people that I've developed a friendship with might end up leaving. And then I remember thinking to myself, am I loyal to my friends or the people that I've established a relationship with, or am I loyal to the guild? Because apparently, there's just a bunch of stuff that was going on behind the scenes that I wasn't aware of, and so they could potentially leave. And so,
yeah.
Man, I was conflicted. I remember feeling really conflicted because I really liked the guild and I liked these individuals too. And so it's just like, you got to ask yourself, what's the possible least path of resistance, or what's the path that will give you the less headaches? And luckily they were able to bury the hatchet. Luckily, things were able to resolve where they would still stay in the guild, and so I didn't have to pick and choose. But I remember they directly asked me too. I was like, "We're considering leaving the guild. Do you want to join us?" And I'm like, "I'll consider it," because I really like them as having them as friends. And so unless you get to that sort of level of commitment and relationships, it's just like, I mean, who really cares if you're just some guy that pops in every once in a while, and it's definitely, at the end of the day, I don't think you're owed anything. So if you are in a guild and you're just not clicking that well, or you just, it's not for you, then I mean, by all means, like, leave. I mean, no one's if the guild master or whoever's going to hold that against you, even if you're somebody who hasn't really been very active in the guild, then that's probably not the guild for you. They probably have some issues that personal issues that they got to resolve that has nothing to do with you or
Right.
even the game. So with that being said, yeah, you just got to really outweigh just weigh the benefits and the consequences of your decisions if you do get to that level where you could leave, but feelings might get hurt. So
Yeah,
yeah.
and that's good. When I first joined Dark Age of Camelot, my first MMO game, back in like 2000, 2003, I was just playing the game. I was soloing it. I would write down names of people I thought were pretty good characters. I wanted to group with them because grouping was so important. And one day, this guy asked me to join a guild. I'm like, what? I thought this is kind of one of those like, wow, it's just like kind of an honor a little bit, join a guild. I knew that. I think my wife, my daughters, or have already had been in some other guilds, right? I'm like, okay, kind of cool. So I joined this. Nice. I think it was called Knights of the Broken Realm. Okay, like this is kind of cool, And man, when I decided I was playing with other people in a guild called Defenders of the Faith, not a Christian guild, but still Defenders of the Faith. I thought about joining them, and I struggled with the idea. Oh my gosh, I felt so bad. I my loyalty, right? I mean, I felt loyalty to the other group. I thought about bad about, I should leave. I want to leave, but I felt bad about leaving. I mean, I struggle with this thing. I even thinking talking to the guild leader, right? Because just do it, no big deal. Okay, we still hang if you want to, go with them, hanging out. So I did that. I went to the other guild, and now they were on the East Coast. I'm on the West Coast. They would log off, okay, and I'd be still playing for more hours, and they decided at some point they were going to move on themselves, and they said, "Hey, can't they left me behind. They didn't even consult me. I thought I was becoming friends with them. I and they didn't consult with me that they were going to go somewhere else. They left. It's like, well, we're going to leave the guild to Ken, okay, because he'll take care of it. I'm like, I was kind of hurt. We were the alliance leader, we were the guild, the alliance leader, everything about it, okay, which is like it hurt. And then from that point, the alliance was really cool. A lot of great guilds in our alliance. I got to know a lot of the leaders and people in my guild kind of suffered because I wasn't recruiting for my guild anymore, really. Our guild was kind of like we were still there. We were the alliance leaders, but nothing happening. But the alliance was really sound and solid, okay? It was really a lot of fun there. Eventually, I decided I needed to stop doing that. And so I ended up leaving. I think the guild was for somebody or either on my alts, and I joined another guild. So I understand loyalty. I tried to be loyal. When I created a guild in World of Warcraft, it was me and my brother and some others, and we started doing that. It was a lot of fun, and it was hard to leave people behind, even though our plan was to all go to Star Wars Old Republic, but it didn't happen. Half of us went, half of us didn't. And then when I finally come back, I'm like, I was part of it, but I wasn't really anymore. So to me, it's a struggle because I try to be loyal to those who bring me in and try to work with me and help me out. I don't want to leave. I felt bad when I left ESO because our morning song is a great guild in ESO, right? Our morning song is a great, and I struggle because I like the really good guild, a lot of great people, and I'm like, I'm going to play WoW now. Okay, they're just doing ESO. Anyways, that was my little story there. So Jazia, what are your thoughts about this whole thing?
Well, the first guild that I ever belonged to was before EverQuest, and it was just a general online. It was actually an AOL group, if you remember those back in the day.
Yeah.
And it was just a discussion board for gamers in our local area, and then it ended up just exploding, and we had people from all around the world, but it was not specific to any one game or even a genre of games. It was just for gamers who it was a family-friendly kind of thing, not necessarily Christian, but there were a lot of Christians in there, including myself. And it was just a really awesome experience. And a couple of those people I still talk to this day. We play different games, but we still stay connected and build some fantastic friendships out of that. Now, through the years, I'm not going to go through all my experiences because there are a lot of experiences. I've had guilds that have ended in a wide range of different for a wide range of different reasons. usually in MMOs, it comes down to that there's just a difference in opinion on what they want to do with the guild. Are they leaning more? They want to be PvP oriented or PvE oriented. And then you get the folks that are casual, and you get the folks that are on the other side of that pendulum that are wanting to be hardcore raiders doing mythics, and of course that's World of Warcraft. But whatever the most difficult content is for that MMO. And then you get a whole bunch of people, which is where most of us fall into, that are somewhere in between those two ends of the pendulum. And unfortunately, a lot of times, instead of sticking out together and saying, "Hey, we're all friends here. We're all supposedly mature adults. We should be able to accomplish whatever goals that you want to together without splitting the guild apart, without having to sneak off and poach off of another guild to your previous guild to build your own guild up and all that stuff. That's just happens way too often. I would say the time that that you need to leave the guild is the same way that I say that it's time for you to, especially in the MMO verse, it's time for you to leave, or get rid of your sub for a few months or whatever, and that's when it just is it's not fun anymore. It feels like work, or it's toxic, or you feel worse for being in that environment. And it has happened on several occasions where I felt worse for getting on voice chat with certain folks, and then I would get off the game for the night and off of the voice chat, and I just felt like I could have been doing something more positive during that time, and I really feel like that's when that it's time to make a change. And I mean, that's really simplistic, and there are many different things that can work into that. But if you feel like it's just not gelling, it's not, a positive experience for you, that you shouldn't have. I'm not going to tell you what to do, but I don't feel loyalty to the guild as much as I feel loyalty towards my friends, especially if it's real life friends. Such as in World of Warcraft and Elder Scrolls Online. I have real life friends in those guilds that I'm part of, and so I have loyalty to them. And I don't foresee anything happening, especially in the World of Warcraft, the two different guilds that I'm involved in there. I don't foresee ever leaving them, because the ones ran by a friend of mine that I've had for decades, and the other ones just very cherished friendships in that guild as well, that even though I don't really play the characters that are in that guild, but I still play with them. So yeah, I was one of those people you were talking about just a little bit ago. But I have loyalty to my friends, and I feel rewarded for spending time with my friends more than just the guild in general.
Right.
And if it's a rewarding experience, it's a positive experience, you feel better for having spent your evening or your morning or your afternoon with those people, then you're good. And if it's the opposite of that, then you need to think on it, pray on it, and use your noggin, man. Life is too short to spend it frivolously or in a toxic situation where you just feel worse for being in that situation, especially when it comes to gaming. Gaming is there for leisure time, for stress relief. And if you feel worse when you get off the game, then, like Solomon said, you need to start thinking about, could I have spent that time better? Could I have been more wise with how I chose to spend the last 4 hours. You know, maybe there's something else that God would rather that you be doing. Maybe that's him saying, "Hey, you know, there's some other projects that would be more fulfilling, and as well as just be working towards the greater commandment that we've been given." And yeah, not to get all preachy, but it's the truth, and kind of like I said, what Solomon said, it rang a bell with me that yeah, it does get, if it's at the point where you're thinking, I really, maybe I shouldn't spend 6 hours on that game today. I should have, maybe spent more time with my kids or my dog or my spouse, or, I have some other project I've been working on, or maybe, I've been neglecting reading the Word of God or praying or whatever. Yeah. So, before I get
No,
too preachy on an MMO show,
no, that's well
I'll end
said.
it with that.
I
But
mean, it boils back to this, Solomon when he said depends. And by the way, Solomon has to go, so
yeah,
he's gone dark because he has to get to work. We started trying to be on time, but because of the technical stuff, he ran over a little bit. Say Stephen made a comment about I led my WoW guild for years and love it, and that's true. And that's what makes it all worthwhile. The
mhm,
thing you made a comment about this being a game. I mean, there are people who make so much drama out of the guild stuff, and you're like, what? This is supposed to be a game, and people
right,
quit for the very reason, or stop being a guild leader, or even being in a guild because I'm just tired of this. I come here to have fun and play and just hang out, not to have people be all drama queens, whatnot. But then again, you also got to realize that everybody online is a human being, and you better treat them with the same respect you treat someone offline. And so many people, unfortunately, treat people in games far worse they were ever treat them online. So it's like it's a mixture. When you deal with human beings, you're always going to have this problem. So the good, you meet new people, you get new experiences, new friendships. The bad, you get trolls that just want to ruin your life, and you just want to quit the guild and the game. Yeah,
yeah,
I think anyone who's ever ran a guild has been there and seen that. I've been there
oh
and
yeah,
seen that. I fully cherish and respect those who run a guild. Try to help them out because I understand what it does to go through it, and try to be a good gamer. So yeah. All right. Well said. Like I said, we lost Solomon, but we are almost on anyway. So coming up, we are our next World Quest. We got to chat about this, but BlizzCon is coming up on Friday, February 19th to Saturday, February 20th. I definitely, if given the opportunity, will like to stream something out of that. So maybe we'll do something as a world quest for us. But in the meantime, we will be doing May. New World comes out. And if you aren't, try to alpha it. Jafar, that guy from Aladdin, is looking at the next show to do latest updates. Which reminds me, I got to jump in and play some more of that game. So there you go. So May will definitely be New World. Our quests are done, the dungeons are cleared, and the loot has been distributed, and all of the crafting orders have been completed. So now it's time to go AFK. Solomon's not here, but you can find him on the Coffee and RPGs YouTube channel. So go there, check him out. He puts a lot of good information into his shows, and if you don't have time to read the article, he'll give you the highlights, and you don't have to, because he does. Well, for me at least, he is reading from the same sources I get from. So there you go. Sir Jazil, where can you find you at?
right now it's mainly on this show, and then I've been playing Rust with the awesome God mode activated people, and spend a lot of time in there as well as tongue twister there, World of Warcraft. So if you play either of those games, you can catch me there. Otherwise, I'm on Discord. Still haven't figured out a way to get streaming again. The thought is that I may start streaming again without a cam. For those of
Okay.
you who know, I'm in a situation where I have some severe disability issues that I may have to stream from bed, and honestly, I'm just going to be open with everyone. I'm a little bit embarrassed streaming from my bed, so I may just start streaming again without the camera. But other than that, yeah, just hit me up. I still check Twitch, so if you want to message me on here or Discord, that's the best way to do it. Social media is kind of out. I'm not going to get into
Right.
politics. Don't
Yep.
worry, everybody. But I'm done with Facebook and Twitter and all those things. So Twitch or Discord or in-game and Rust or WoW, and like I said, like Kenneth was saying, we are going to be diving in deep into New World, and there's a couple of other games that are coming out this year that I'm looking forward to. So we'll see where that goes.
All right, sounds good. Steven saying, "Yay, no cam stream."
Well,
I know that. Funny thing, I laughed because I know that he reminds me when he comes to my stream, Ken, pull up the big picture. I had the smaller one, just chatting one. He wants to see the bigger, so I think he'd be more inclined to like, I don't want to see your face. I want to see the game. So you could green screen. If you made your sheets and whatnot behind you green screen, okay, then you could be
That's
your
true.
face and another thing behind you, okay, and you got it all perfect. No one needs to know, okay, so green screen it.
Yeah, that's true.
Besides, he also says apparently you're too pretty to be of a man anyways, okay, so.
Thank you. I do have the mutton chops back, so.
Yeah, mutton chops, All right, that was it. Thank you so much for hanging out with us this week. Sorry for the technical difficulties, but obviously if you're watching it on YouTube, we'd love to hear your comments. Go ahead and put it down below in the doobly-doo and let us know what your thoughts are. If you are watching this on YouTube, put it out there for you guys' sake. I have fun editing it, so I don't lose for editing it. It's kind of fun to do it, but we want you to share that, like and subscribe, all those wonderful things. So thanks so much for being here. So we should see you next week for another Trinity MMO show. Some more stuff from the world of MMOs and our MMO opinions. Should trademark that, maybe not. Okay. Farewell, gents. Be blessed. And by the way, we will be playing World of Warcraft tonight. Okay, I committed to that because apparently we're gonna do some stuff, some Torghast stuff. So join me, Sir Jaziel, and Steven and others